Hello, welcome pen friends. My name is Chris and I'm back with the final ink profile for Ink Flight 24, the January 2019 Ink Flight box. So today we're doing Taccia Aka, which is red, and it has a really neat gold sheen on it that we may or may not be able to catch depending on our lighting. But let's dive right in. This is quite an interesting ink here. So let's get it into the bath test. That's the first thing I like to do. Put that in there. And we'll look back on our last ink here in a minute. Whoops. There we go. Okay. It's got splash water everywhere. Wow, look at that pink come out. That's really something. Okay, so this is the last one, and it was the Murasaki Purple. And it resisted a little bit, but you can still read it, but it certainly wasn't quite as strong as the other inks in this series. So there it is. I wouldn't want to do my envelope probably with it, but okay, let's get right into, we'll let this simmer over here, do what it's going to do, and we'll get right into the Rhodia Gold book. And let's flip back, because I always like to see the completed spread. It's always fun to see that. Been working on this for a while now, and this is our last one. I still haven't played with that snorkel yet. That might be something I can do between now and when the next ink flight comes in, along with a few singles profiles. There's some inks I really want to try out, but I'd also like to see whether the snorkel is going to work at all for me, since I'm kind of an ink syringe girl here. So okay, and then we'll just page over. We've filled up our spread with these four, and here we are. Okay, here is the chromatography. Let's make sure that focuses for Aka. Hopefully that's focused. Sometimes it just doesn't want to change. But there it is. That's a lot of magenta in there, or pink, and some orange, some yellow. It's really, really cool. Okay, so here it is. Now, I'm going to try to show you that there. Okay, I think you can see the gold sheen. This is Tomoe River paper taped in, and if we kind of let it have its time in the light there, you can see that gold sheen. It's very impressive. So I really like this, although it is so bright that I'm not sure exactly. Well, I have one use for it, and I'll show you when we get in one of the notebooks. It definitely is a good editor kind of an ink, but it's very, very bright, and it reminds me of two other inks that I have. So I love it because it flows just as nicely as all the others have. But for writing letters, I'm not terribly sure. I haven't tried it out yet for that, though, just to be fair. But I'll have you know that I did go ahead, even though I didn't want to, and I cleaned out the Murasaki Purple, and so we've got red in here now. I think you can probably even see it. We've got the Aka in this pen so that I could show you with all seven the exact same inks, our nibs, and I thought that was only fair to this ink. So, my first impressions, this ink will wake you up. Yeah, it can't be ignored. It's really, really bright. And I did think of it right away as a grading ink, something that you could use to either edit your work or do grading if you're a teacher. Although I think teachers probably get really sick of red ink because, that's sort of cliche. And it reminds me of Diamine Wild Strawberry. It also reminds me of Caran Infra Red, but we'll see that in a minute. Okay, so that is that. I'll make sure we don't lose that. Okay, so let's go right into the cafe note, where I take my notes for my intermittent fasting, and it just kind of helps me out because then I have it to show you too. This is the broad nib, and I'm trying to give you a little view. It's really going to be hard to capture the gold sheen. I can see it with my eye, but it's very subtle in the writing. So it's the broad nib here and the Lamy fine nib on this side, and I just felt like, wow, it definitely shows up. It's great. I liked it a lot. Like I said, I'm just not sure about writing letters with it. So let me go back and show you. I made a ridiculous error twice in a row. I don't know what I was thinking. So on Monday, I put September 28th, 2019. So I went back with the red and I edited that out because that could really confuse me later on. if I looked back and looked at the date and my weight, I'd be like, huh? So, and here I did it again, September 29th. Okay, so I've got ourselves right back into the correct day today. It is January 31st as I'm filming this. And last day of the month, so I'm really happy that I'm getting this profile in, because now we're going into IncoWrimo, and we're lining up for the very next ink flight, which will be, you know, we'll be hearing things about that real soon. So, okay, here's the third notebook, the Nemah notebook. And I like to take a paintbrush and just get the ink down. Now, I can see a lot of gold sheen there, but I don't know whether I can get it where you can see it. There, okay. You could probably see it where the ink was put on a little. It's actually real impressive down here if I get it just right, but it's very difficult to do. Okay, there we go. See those little dots or marks? It really does show a lot of gold, and depending on your screen though. I don't know what you're looking through, but okay. So I did the usual thing. I put it in the Moon Man mini glass nib, and it held right up. There's been other inks where I had to redip, or it didn't quite, you know, make it this far, but this one did, just like all the other Taccia inks did. Nice and flowy, and I just can't stop looking at that gold sheen, although, you know, I guess in artwork it would probably do more for us than it will in our writing, but there it is. So, okay, let's get right on to all these paper samples, which is kind of cool because now we've got them all. So we've got all 7, and of course that's a distorted kind of a perspective there. This is Tomoe River, 52 gram. Let me try to hold this up because we've got more sheen here to show you. If I can do it. There we go. A lot of gold edging and sheen there. So, but let me show you the writing, because that's the main thing, I'm sure, for most people. There it is in the broad nib and in the Lamy fine nib. Very, very nice, you know, all the way through here. Let's get on to Rhodia 80 gram dot grid, and I'm going to put it down just for a minute so you could see all 7 inks there. This was just such an impressive lineup. I can't help myself. I'm going to enjoy these. I may even tack them up over my desk. I'm crazy about this brand ink. Now, I'm not seeing much gold sheen at all on this paper. That's just the way it is. It didn't, and that's okay. It's just, I thought I'd mention it. So here it is in the broad nib and in the Lamy fine nib. Maybe I should hold it a little straighter. Goodness. Okay. I'm just aware that the light is to the right of me today. My natural light is horrible. It's raining in Texas, and it's not cold. You know, it really isn't cold. It's like in the 50s or so for us it is, but not, you know, nothing. Okay. So, Clairefontaine, French ruled. I'm going to lay that down too, because I got carried away. I didn't have as much room down here, so I kind of made this horizontal. But here we are. Here's the, let's see if we can see that. There is a little bit of sheen there, not much. Got to hit it just right. May not be able to. Huh. Okay. It's just much more subtle. The Tomoe River paper is where it's at as far as the sheen, with this ink anyway. So here it is in the broad nib and then in the Lamy fine nib. I was perfectly pleased with it on this paper that can feel somewhat dry to me. So I was very pleased. And then this is the newcomer, so I don't have all of the inks. I started out on the blue-black one of the Taccia inks. So here we are, and I do see the gold sheen, but it's hard to capture. Maybe we can just get a few glimmers. Maybe not. But I see it with my eye. Not so much in the writing. I just can't on this. This is the Hamlin Optic 90 gram paper that I'm testing, because I think I'm going to get a notebook made out of this. So there it is in the broad nib and in the Lamy. I didn't finish the writing. Let's see. Later on, that could be a problem for me. I'd like to remember what I was doing. And since I do a lot of switcheroos, I better get it on there. Okay. Okay, so there's that one. We have 2 more. Here's the Leuchtturm dot grid. And we do have all of them on here, but they're not. I didn't do the big swatches. So I'm going to hold this up for you. And there it is in the broad nib and in the Lamy fine nib. It loved that paper, and most of the inks do. Okay, and last but not least, Office Depot College Ruled paper. And we have all of the 7 on here too, so that's nice. And we'll turn it over in a minute, because this is the one that sometimes bleeds through. But okay, here we are with the broad nib and the Lamy fine nib. I think I only had just a little bit on the blue, but that's because I laid it on real thick to cover up a mistake. And I wouldn't even count that as bleed through, because who would do that, right? You know, most of the time nobody would do that. So you got a little bit of ghosting, but not much, and no bleed through on that paper of any of these inks. So I just love these inks. Okay, we're gonna check in on this, and then we're gonna look at our comparison panel. Whoops. Okay, everything became pink. Pink, but still kind of readable. Let's see. The water everywhere. Okay. Kind of readable. Not, you know, not perfect though. Okay. So I can get rid of all that ink. And let's glance back. Yeah, that makes sense when you think about the chromatography that came along with this one. Okay, now, for the part I really enjoy, let's get into comparing this ink with some other fountain pen inks. Right in the middle is our ink of the day. I'm going to hold that up for a second. Maybe you can see that. That really does become gold. And we have another one on the panel that does the same thing. Diamine Wild Strawberry does a similar kind of a, it may be a little bit more subtle in the Diamine Wild Strawberry, but you can really see in these two that we're talking about gold sheen. And that's, and there's a little bit in the Caran Infra Red, but not much. Okay, now that I've blinded you with all that, let's put it back down so we can just look at the color, the base colors. So we know that these 3 have quite a bit in common, and you can kind of see that probably with your eye too. But you've got less sheen here, kind of almost as much with the Diamine Wild Strawberry, and that could be variable. And then quite a bit with this one. So this was really exciting. I have quite a few reds, and yet I really, you know, it almost looks orange to me. You know, when I look at it with my eye, it kind of fools me a little bit. But I did think that it had so much in common with these two, Caran Infra Red and Diamine Wild Strawberry. And then this is my favorite red, my personal, like if I was going to ink up for red for Valentine's Day or for Christmas even, I would choose the KWZ Thief's Red. It's my very favorite red. Kind of followed closely by Kaveco Ruby Red, but that leans toward a maroonish sort of. So, and when I first looked at it, I thought that Birmingham Fred Rogers Cardigan Red was really going to, you know, compare, but it doesn't, but at least that gives you a chance to, you know, see how different it is. And then KWZ Red number 1 is just much darker and different. It totally leaves the area of comparison. And at first, Robert Oster Whisper Red, at first glance, it you know, I thought I was going to see some similarities, and not so much really. And then this one, just for, you know, maybe more people have seen Diamine Classic Red. I don't know. And then, you know, Myers Curiosity, that's Colorverse, that's interesting, but it doesn't quite compare. Because it's really getting into the more brightness that makes these 3, I think, look so much alike. Huh. Okay, so let's get out the visual journal. And I've got 2 to show you. Let's see. Let me go ahead and, this was the first one, and I think you may be able to see that gold sheen there. And there's quite a bit up here, but that requires a different angle to see that sheen. Huh. Just interesting how that is. And then over here. So it was quite dramatic. It moved around a lot, and it did all kinds of little details down here, like it could be water or it could be red trees, I guess. You know, but anyway, I had fun with it, and it's pink. There's a lot of pink, but that's making a lot of sense what it does based on the chromatography too. So I guess what I'm doing is learning, you know? It's a lot of good learning. Okay, so then there's this one, and this one just went completely wild. It was another one of those accidents where when you run the paintbrush down below with water on it, if you hit a highly saturated area, it just does this. It draws that ink right down. So I just let it do it so we could see what it looked like. And let's see if we could pick up any of the sheen. I can see it, but darn, it's really hard to pick up. There's a lot of gold sheen going on here, all the way down through and over here, which is just difficult to capture, that's all. So, but this is always fun to do. It is. You know, you just can't control it. You know, you could see the difference here between what can happen, how you can make it just so different. That was the last ink. Okay, so as far as what's next, that is the $1,000,000 question. What I think I'm going to do is go through and choose some just irresistible inks from... I'll just do one at a time, though. Choose one at a time from these that have been generously given to me, and do some ink, what I call ink singles profiles. And I'm going to be participating in InkoRimo, so I've got 28 letters to write for sure, which I made the right choice to stick with pen pals because I have at least 7 to answer right now, which is great. Starts tomorrow. I've got one letter started, so that's cool. So I'll be doing that, and I'll be coming in to, you know, look over some of these. In fact, I may study this ink flight again and see if there was anything I needed to find out to compare, because I know there was at least one blue-black ink that I wanted to try. And we'll just kind of go from there. If you have any input at all, let me know in the comments. Oh, that's kind of shimmery, too. Shiny object there. I like those gel pens. Okay, and then I have one off-topic thing to talk about real quick. I wanted to say a big thank you to pen friend Ginger for mentioning these. These are called, like I said, totally off-topic, ring Snuggies. And Walmart for $2.88. You get 6 of them. And so far, my husband and I have fixed 4 rings, and then there's still some more in there. So I guess I mentioned that I lost my wedding ring, my band, and it was lost, I think, 2 days, and I finally found it, but I've lost all this weight. So anyway, I went today and got some and put it on the back, and it's not going to fall off. And this ring here, this one is a silver ring that I made out of a quarter, and I think I mentioned that once. I was young when I did that. I really can't remember how old. It might have been right before I went to college, so I was 17 if that's the case. I made it out of a quarter where you just kind of take the quarter and you keep tapping on it with a little tiny rounded hammer. So you know how I spent that summer. Anyway, you put them on. This is another ring that I fixed. And I thought, gosh, I didn't know about this, so maybe some other people don't either. This is a ring that fits on this finger with this Snuggie. Without it, it would just fall off. And I do like this. My mother gave it to me. I don't know what it is. I need to ask her because I've had it so long that I don't even know the history or remember anything about it. But putting those on there saves you from losing them when you've had this, you know, like a weight loss like this. And this one, I did both rings with the one just because this was the right thickness. They come with a whole bunch of variety of thicknesses. And maybe you can even see in there, there's a narrower one, and there was a really super wide one that worked on my husband's band. So this gives us time to think about what we're going to do, you know. Maybe weight, because I might lose more weight in my fingers. I don't know. It's a crazy place to lose weight. Okay, so let me know, if you would like to, in the comments, which one was your favorite out of this panel. Oh my goodness. I just really love the Murasaki Purple, and I was quite crazy about the Purple Red too, the Ebby. But then again, the olive green was so unique. It was just beautiful. I love them all. I would, you know, if I had all the money, no problems, no question. I would get every single one in bottle. But my favorite two, I think, were these two, the Murasaki Purple and the Purple Red. And then, you know, kind of closely followed by this one. But anyway, let me know what you thought, if you had a favorite or what you think about this brand so far. And thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.